For more than 150 million years, one question about the first birds seemed permanently unanswerable. Not their feathers or their flight, but their true evolutionary origins, whether they descended from dinosaurs or arose separately. Conflicting early classifications assumed close avian kinship, symbolizing Darwin's famous missing link. Yet the creature whose wings first defined powered flight could never have passed a modern phylogenetic test. Then in 1861, the discovery of Archaeopteryx produced headlines that shook science. And in 2025, breakthrough UV and CT scans on the Chicago specimen delivered an answer no one expected. But the answer wasn't what the headlines said. It was stranger. To understand what those scans revealed, you have to go back to the warm, shallow lagoons of the late Jurassic period, about 150 million years ago, in what is now southern Germany. In the fine limestone mud of the Solnhofen archipelago, a remarkable creature lived and died. Archaeopteryx, roughly the size of a modern pigeon, possessed feathered wings capable of flight, yet retained a mouth full of sharp teeth, a long bony tail, and 3 clawed fingers on each hand. When one of these animals fell into the stagnant waters, its body was perfectly preserved as the sediment slowly turned to stone. The first Archaeopteryx fossil, a single feather, was discovered in 1861, just 2 years after Charles Darwin published On the Origin of Species. Soon after, nearly complete skeletons followed. Today, 14 body fossils are known, all from the same exceptional limestone deposits. Darwin's supporters immediately hailed it as the perfect transitional form between reptiles and birds, the long-sought missing link. Only the lineage leading to modern birds survived the mass extinction at the end of the Cretaceous period 66 million years ago. Early debates raged over its contradictory features, reptilian teeth and long tail versus unmistakably bird-like feathers and wishbone. Some argued it was more reptile than bird. For over 160 years, the question persisted like a shadow over the limestone slabs. Were the first birds true dinosaurs or a separate flying reptile lineage? The iconic first bird, whose wings opened the skies to powered flight, carried the ultimate mystery of misplaced evolutionary bloodlines. In a world ruled by giant reptiles, its body blended 2 worlds in ways no one could fully explain. That unanswered question waited patiently in museum drawers and quarry walls for modern technology to finally settle the debate. After its discovery, 19th and 20th century classifications treated Archaeopteryx as the undisputed first bird and the direct evolutionary link between dinosaurs and modern birds. This interpretation dominated paleontology textbooks, museum displays, and popular culture for more than a century. Minor dissenting theories before the 1990s suggested that birds had evolved separately from primitive, fecodont reptiles, or that Archaeopteryx was merely a feathered dinosaur rather than a true avian ancestor. Mainstream paleontologists largely dismissed these alternative ideas for decades. Over time, the majority of scholars settled on the consensus that birds were descendants of small theropod dinosaurs within the Maniraptoran clade, with flight evolving gradually from feathered ancestors. Between 1996 and the early 2000s, a remarkable series of discoveries from the Liaoning province in China revolutionized our understanding of bird origins. Paleontologist Su Xing and his colleagues uncovered Sinosauropteryx, the first dinosaur found with primitive protofeathers, followed by Caudipteryx with more advanced plumage, and the spectacular 4-winged glider Microraptor. These specimens dramatically revealed that feather-like structures and even gliding capabilities had evolved in dinosaurs millions of years before Archaeopteryx. Headlines erupted around the world. Feathered dinosaurs prove birds are dinosaurs. Evolution rewritten. It appeared to be the final proof. Birds weren't just related to dinosaurs. They were living dinosaurs. But the story was more complicated than any headline could contain. The Chinese fossils were preserved in exceptional volcanic ash Lagerstätten that offered stunning detail, yet raised questions about how typical these animals were. While the discoveries conclusively showed that feathers predated birds, they were not fully conclusive about the exact origins of powered flight. With relatively few complete specimens and the possibility of convergent evolution in some traits, the precise lineage and timing of true flapping flight remained open to interpretation. The field needed a definitive look at Archaeopteryx itself. In 2025, advanced UV light fluorescence and high-resolution CT scanning were applied to the spectacular Chicago Archaeopteryx specimen at the Field Museum. The project was led by paleontologist Dr. Jingmai O'Connor and her international team. The new imaging techniques revealed soft tissues and feather structures that had remained hidden for more than a century and a half. They compared these findings against confirmed theropod dinosaurs and the earliest known birds. The results were stunning. This was the moment the century-old question began to crack open. The analysis revealed a complete set of specialized tertial feathers on the inner wings, structures never before confirmed in Archaeopteryx. These feathers closed the critical gap between the wing and the body, creating a continuous aerodynamic surface necessary for powered flight. This simultaneously authenticated Archaeopteryx as a capable active flyer and closed separate reptile lineage theories forever. What had long been interpreted as convergent similarities with dinosaurs were in fact shared ancestry within the theropod clade. The century-old question had finally cracked open, but the 2025 analysis had more to say. Further examination using the same UV and CT data revealed highly bird-like skull features, including a more kinetic beak structure and specialized hyoid bones that supported an agile tongue. Soft tissue preservation even showed evidence of fleshy oral papillae and enhanced nerve openings near the jaw tip, adaptations that would have allowed more efficient food capture and processing to meet the high energy demands of flight. There were no strictly reptile-only markers dominating the anatomy. Instead, the profile was purely transitional, showing clear parallels with modern birds. These findings tied directly into the paleoecological context of the Solnhofen lagoons, where quick, efficient hunting in a predator-rich marine environment would have been essential for survival. Dr. Jingmai O'Connor called the discovery personally and evolutionarily significant after 2 decades of research. We now see that Archaeopteryx wasn't just a link between dinosaurs and birds. It was already succeeding as a flying dinosaur. When the documentary titled First Birds: Fossils That Changed Everything aired on Channel 4 in early 2026, the criticism was immediate and fierce. Prominent paleontologists condemned the program as a deluge of misinformation and bad science. Dr. Steve Bruzat at the University of Edinburgh described it as an ethical nightmare of overhype that risked misleading the public. The deeper objection was ethical. By using rare specimens for high-drama storytelling, critics argued the documentary was sensationalizing evolutionary history rather than respecting the careful, incremental nature of paleontological discovery. What remains after the headlines and the controversy is something quieter and more durable. The creatures long assumed to be early birds carried a fully dinosaurian ancestry that would have defied every assumption of their own era. Dr. Jingmai O'Connor said it plainly. Archaeopteryx wasn't simply a link between dinosaurs and birds. It was already a successful flying dinosaur. This discovery shows us that the origins of flight were far more complex and fascinating than we ever imagined. If Archaeopteryx's fossils tell us anything definitive, it may be this. The obsession with separate bloodlines and evolution was always more complicated than anyone imagined. If you want more stories where fossils flip paleontology on its head, hit subscribe because the next one is even crazier than this.